tired.
All right, we already watched this.
After
Bernard went on Face the Nation CBS and cooked Rahm Emanuel a clinic. I got to pee, but it's very exciting stuff.
13 straight days of U.S. bombing, U.S. strikes were halted over the weekend. Regional sources tell CBS that talks between Oman and Iran on reopening the Strait of Hormuz appear to be headed in a positive direction. Although, caution, more negotiations are needed. As oil prices rose again last week to their highest level in more than a month, a new CBS poll finds 2/3 of Americans believe the U.S. should end the conflict with Iran now, while just 1/3 say it should continue until Iran makes further concessions. Only 35% approve of President Trump's handling of the war. Meanwhile, the Pentagon is asking Congress for additional funding as the costs of the conflict mount. We begin this morning with Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Welcome back to Face the Nation, Senator.
Good to be with you.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told Congress he needs $67 billion on an emergency basis to help pay the troops, to help restock munitions. I know you object to the war, but we're in this thing now, and I know you want to help the troops. So how do you do that without providing the funding?
Well, Margaret, we need $67 billion to build housing, to make sure that all of our people have health care, that we deal with climate change, that we deal with a middle class, a working class in this country that is struggling. The war in Iran is unconstitutional. It is illegal, should never have been started. We need to sit down, negotiate, end this war as quickly as possible.
So our polling that we just referenced there show that the president does have low approval ratings, but when it comes to Democrats, they actually fare slightly worse on this. When they were asked by CBS who has the better approach to Iran, 32% say Trump and the GOP, only 30% say Democrats. So what should the solution be here? Is there an affirmative vision from Democrats on how to get out of this?
The solution should be and by the way, both the House and the Senate have voted for war powers resolution that makes it clear what Trump is doing is illegal. But given that we are where we are right now, let's sit down, let's negotiate with them, let's stop the killing, let's stop the devastation to our economy, which is raising gas prices all across the board. That's what we've got to do. Sit down, negotiate, let's end this war.
Just cut the losses where they are.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we are 100 days out from the midterm races. I know you've been working, going around the country to help boost some of these progressive candidates. Maine is a state that could flip control of the Senate. Yesterday, 600 Maine primary delegates replaced scandal-ridden Graham Plattner with Troy Jackson. He's a logger. He's a progressive. He had been allied with Plattner before he called on him to wake out in the wake of those sexual assault allegations. I'm wondering, with 100 days out, can Jackson play catch-up here?
I think he can. I think what Troy, and I've known Troy for many years, what he understands that the people of Maine are sick and tired of a rigged economy in which the billionaire class is getting richer and richer, where we have more income and wealth inequality today than we've ever had in the history of this country, while 60% of our people, including in Maine, including in Vermont, all over this country, are living paycheck to paycheck, trying to put food on the table, trying to pay for health care, for housing, put aside a few bucks for retirement. Troy understands that. He's a working class guy. He's from the working class. He is very articulate. I think he stands an excellent chance to win. The problem that he has, and the problem that we have in Michigan and Minnesota right now, we have candidates Abdul El Sayed and Peggy Flanagan, is that the oligarchs, the billionaire class, are throwing unbelievable amounts of money into these campaigns to protect the establishment candidates. And whether we can overcome that, that remains to be seen. But in Michigan right now, the super PACs, billionaire super PACs, spending $50 million against El Sayed.
Well, you were an early supporter in Maine of Graham Plattner. You helped him rise. Do you regret not acting earlier to call for him to drop out, given the warning signs? Would that have given you a leg up here with Jackson?
No, I don't think so. When we heard the serious allegations made against them, I wanted to get on the phone. I wanted to talk to him. I did. I asked, along with virtually all his supporters, that he should get out of the race, and he did.
But you are
Kaya,
confident that
where are you
with
going?
your endorsements, these other
Kaya,
candidates have been fully
come
vetted?
here.
Well, look, I think,
Kaya,
there are
come here.
hundreds of candidates. I
What
don't
the
know
hell?
who has been, quote unquote, fully vetted.
Well, you just mentioned two
All
of
I
them.
know is the candidates. Well, all I know is, Margaret, that the candidates that we
What the
are
hell?
supporting are standing up for the working class of this country. And at a time when so many people are discouraged, deeply discouraged, whether you're Republicans, Democrats, Independents, about not only a rigged economy, but a corrupt campaign finance system in which billionaires are buying elections, I think the candidates that I and other progressives are supporting are generating enormous grassroots excitement and enthusiasm. As you indicated, I was in Michigan, Minnesota.
Yeah.
We had large rallies for El Sayed and Peggy Flanagan.
There is, as you know, though, concern within Democratic circles that these inter-party primary fights are draining resources and sort of, pulling away from what should be a unified message. Rahm Emanuel wrote in the Wall Street Journal, the Bernie...
Yeah, this is bullshit. Because, as I've said time and time again, there's a real simple solution to not draining these resources, which is to run better campaigns that don't require the establishment to dump any resources whatsoever. Also, look at Bernie smirking because he knows he's about to get a slam dunk off here. Perhaps no better person that they could have asked about to Bernie Sanders than Rahm fucking Emanuel. Okay. Bernie, in some respects, is like the perfect foil to the politics that Rahm Emanuel represents. Rahm Emanuel is responsible for a lot of these failures. Bernie is responsible for this like new movement that's growing. But ultimately, as I was saying, when they complain about this stuff, when the establishment Democrats complain about this stuff, like they're complaining, they're crying to the referee. Right? They're like, "Oh, you're forcing us to actually run campaigns. You're forcing us to run campaigns. How dare you? How dare you force our record into broad daylight? How dare you make the voters choose a better option?" That's what they're complaining about. Because if you were capable of defending your seat because you've great constituent services, that you're not like an establishment cutout, then it would be impossible. If you were a diligent fundraiser on your own, it wouldn't be an issue. I don't think the Democratic Party should spend that much money or any money at all on defending these seats. If you're a fucking 4-year incumbent, or if you're a 4-term incumbent, your seat should be impossible to take out. Okay? Unless there is tremendous outside money coming in, which is ironic because I don't remember the Democratic Party defending Cory Bush, nor do I remember them defending Jamal Bowman, nor do I remember them defending AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. So why won't they treat the establishment Democrats in the same way? Those people had to fight for their own seats. Some of them lost because there was tremendous outside money. Okay? You understand? There have been attempts to unseat incumbent Democrats in the House of Representatives. I just gave you some prominent examples, many of which failed. They did not get help from the establishment. They did not get help from the coffers of the House of Representatives, the Democratic Party. They had to do that on their own. And there were those who lost because there was one redistricting that took place with Jamal Bowman and a tremendous amount of outside expenditures coming from AIPAC. And the same thing happened with Cori Bush. Again, tens of millions of dollars coming from AIPAC. The Democrats did not defend them. They did not defend those incumbents. I'm sorry, whining about popular grassroots candidates wasting AIPAC's resources, the most spiritually Israeli shit. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's hear what Bernard had to say.
Bros could spoil Democrats' midterms. He said the DSA and others are saddling the party with nominees who, as he put it, wildly unpopular positions will protect Republicans from having to pay the price of Donald Trump's corruption. He said it was the socialists who led the charge to defund the police, open borders, abolish prisons. He's saying those are losing messages that are going to hurt the party overall. How do you respond?
That is what Rahm Emanuel is saying, who no doubt has the support of millions of working class people. Look, this is an argument. There's no debate. There is a strong division within the Democratic Party. You have an establishment like Rahm Emanuel, who are dependent on billionaire campaign contributors who want to maintain the status quo. Then you have a progressive movement, which, by the way, what is getting these guys nervous is we are winning all over this country. It's not only Mamdani in New York City, it is in New Jersey, it's in Ohio, it's in Colorado. People are sick and tired of the Rahm Emanuels and the Democratic establishment and the Republican establishment. They are asking simple questions, Margaret. Why in God's name are we the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right? Pretty simple question. Canada does it. Europe does it. Somehow we can't do it. Why do we have an economy in which one man, Mr. Musk, owns more wealth than the bottom half of American society?
Yeah.
Why do the economists tell us that in the richest country in the history of the world, our kids will likely have a lower standard of living than their parents? The American people are tired of a rigged economy, a corrupt campaign finance system. They want real change. They don't want Rahm Emanuel and the establishment maintaining the status quo.
But in the meantime, I hear
Cooked. I mean, this is so perfect for Bernard. This is literally his stump speech for 854 years now. So 854 years strong. Oh my God. Yes, bro. Yes, I've seen Bernard shooting fucking hoops. Okay. Jesus Christ. Here. All right. You got it. He still got it. Old man still got it. Okay.
hear you on the message that you think is resonating on the, the tactical planning here. Do you think in the state of Michigan that you were just talking about with Abdul El-Sayed, he's a public health official, he's a populist, but he's running against a moderate, Haley Stevens. Do you really think that in a state like Michigan, it's going to be a progressive Democrat who could beat a Republican in November? This was a state Trump narrowly won.
I hate this argument, man. Yes, Trump won because he was anti-establishment. Michigan is not supposed to be a purple state. Michigan is a blue state, a deep blue fucking state. The problem is the Democratic Party is no longer deep blue. That's it. Or rather, what a lot of people in the media and what a lot of people in the Democratic Party are claiming is deep blue is actually associated with like some of the sillier things that people greatly exaggerate, right? Stuff that they're doing to the DSA platform right now. Oh, they want to make sure every cop goes to prison, blah, 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 all this shit. Like, no, that's not the point, man. We want accountability, okay? If you run a left populist candidacy in Michigan, you're going to do incredible numbers. And Abdul is going to prove that. He is going to show the rest of the country that Michigan is not a fucking purple state. It's not a swing state. Michigan is a stronghold for left flank populists. But what kind of left flank populism? What kind of left flank politics are we talking about? Is it better things are not possible, incremental change, or is it broad, sweeping, radical agenda items that are not so radical to the average person, to the working class, to the working class folks? Medicare for all, ending our endless militarism overseas. These are not radical ideas. They are radical in DC. They are not radical in Michigan. That's it. This is from the beginning of July. They wrote about me and Abdul.
Absolutely. Whether it's Michigan, Minnesota, Vermont, or any place else in this country. The point I'm trying to make, Margaret.
Say Wisconsin, burn dog.
And the polling indicates this. The people are sick and tired of the status quo.
Yes.
We are the richest country in the history of the world. We should have the highest standard of living for all of our people, not massive income and wealth inequality. And by the way, we should not be continuing to get involved in genocidal wars with Israel in Gaza or getting involved in the destruction of Lebanon. People want change in foreign policy and in domestic policy. The status quo is not working.
But for Republicans who are looking at this, they're saying that's great. Is Bernie going to tell his supporters not to show up, for example, if Haley Stevens wins out in Michigan? Or will you say it's...
No. Oh, my God. I'm Brian Kilme. I'm Brian Kilme.
I'm Brian Kilme. I'm Brian Kilme. I'm Brian Kilme. I'm Brian Kilme.
It's literally the same meta. It's 2016 permanently. It's permanently 2016. It'll never be a different year. 2016 politics, Bernie bro politics, will forever follow all of us around. It is so fucking unbearable, dude. I hate it. I despise it. I hate it with every fiber of my being, folks. It is unfucking bearable. Oh, will you support Haley Stevens? Like, what is this conversation? What is this conversation right now? Why are we having this conversation right now? What is the necessity? Why change it worked twice? Yeah, I know. It did. Except this time, Bernie has the backing of the public, so he can turn around and say, yeah, this conversation is exactly why Michigan was lost twice. Both to Hillary Rodham Clinton and then to Kamala Harris. We can't repeat this same mistake. Haley Stevens promoting George Will is a good window into Howard campaign is basically an amalgam of never Trump Republicans like Will, very pragmatic Republicans AIPAC, and the soon-to-be the Democratic Party left me for Hassan Piker Republicans. Yeah. Gretchen Whitmer and Gary Peters are not soon-to-be Republicans. They're soon-to-be civilians looking for their next down payment on a lake house. True.
In the end, the Democrats have to unify.
Margaret, the Republicans, and maybe it's the Republican establishment, maybe it's the billionaires who own the Republican Party. Your working class Republicans are not going to say that. They can't afford to pay for health care. They can't afford to send their kids to college. They can't afford decent retirements. And more than a few of them, by the way, will be voting for Peggy Flanagan in Minnesota and Abdul in Michigan.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the cost of living. When we look at polling, it's healthcare costs that are the public's top economic worry, according to KFF. Out in Vermont, you've got the most expensive ACA premiums in the entire country. I'm hearing from Republican senators now that they want to make changes to health care.
Gretchen Whitmer is personally antagonistic towards non-paywalled health care. She is the daughter of a big healthcare executive. That's part of the reason why she endorsed Abdul El-Sayed's opponent, Haley Stevens. Gretchen Whitmer is also very clearly trying to farm as much corporate goodwill as she possibly can, as we've seen her go out to bat for data centers. And yes, she is still a fairly popular governor. but I don't think she is so popular that she will dramatically alter the trajectory of this race. But the fact that Gretchen Whitmer is still going out to bat in this regard shows me that the establishment is scared. She entered a governor's race for the express purpose of running against Abdul, as I told everyone they were inexplicably hyping her up. Yeah, Whitmer is the daughter of her former longtime CEO of health insurance giant Blue Cross, and she's been bankrolled by Blue Cross. Her endorsing against the pro-Medicare for all candidate Abdul al-Sayed is extremely on brand. This is corporate power trying to protect its power. I will say this, though. I think Gretchen Whitmer a couple of years ago would have been a devastating force in Michigan politics to reckon with because she was objectively popular. I think the Trump stuff greatly diminished her credibility. That's number one. And number two, the whole Trump debacle greatly diminished her credibility with her base. And the second thing is the data centers. She is in the pocket of big corporate spenders. She is allowing data centers to be built in the state. People fucking despise these goddamn data centers. So that's something to consider. Here's another great take. Josh Shapiro is much more popular than Whitmer in his state, and his endorsement against Rabb didn't go anywhere. I don't think Josh Shapiro made a big show of his endorsement. Did Josh Shapiro endorse against Chris Rabb? I might be misremembering. I think he leaned. He might have like leaned into, he angled behind the scenes for Sharif Street. But I don't think he came out with a full-throated endorsement. There's a difference there. Of course, as far as the Haley Stevens endorsement of Gretchen Whitmer endorsement of Haley Stevens, does anyone know if this is real? What is this?
President Trump is fighting to build more data centers to grow our economy and strengthen our national security. But liberals like Bernie Sanders of AOC want to shut down American innovation.
I will be pushing for a moratorium on the construction of data centers.
Shutting down data centers strengthens China and makes America weaker. America can't afford that risk. President Trump is fighting to build more data centers to grow our economy and strengthen our national security.
I mean, this looks like a promo for Democrats, but also at the same time, if Trump comes out strongly for data centers, I think a lot of the dumb fuck Republican cultists will probably also run with that. Yeah, here, going back to Gretchen Whitmer, here is the hot mic moment. Governor Whitmer with Oracle CEO Clay McGork talking about data centers.
We're used to people saying, I'm doing it anyway.
Anyone that can live through a winter like you did.
Yeah, she says, we're used to people saying no and doing it anyway. Ha, 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 ha. We used to call Kevin Rudd Kevin747 because he was always on a plane, probably to China, finding nympho. Yeah, Kevin Rudd. He's got a great take. He's got a great take on China, this growing behemoth, the growing dragon of the global manufacturing giant, China. Spent my life learning about China, and it's time. It's time to put that knowledge to test. I'd like to get Kevin Rudd on the stream. How many people do you know, after they were prime minister, they went back? After they were prime minister, they went back and learned further Went to Oxford Uni, mate. And decided to study further, learn more about China. Kevin Rudd thought to himself, look, these guys are building a lot of bridges, building a lot of high-speed rail. I need to learn more about how they did it. I'm going to die. Please, not the Aussie accent. Why not? Wait till he has a book release. He'll come on and stream to flog his wares. Yeah. Turgid. Very turgid stuff. If you ever have insomnia and you want to be put to sleep, you should read different chapters in my book about China. You sound like a New Zealander. I know, but to Americans, it sounds great. You're making Kevin sound like a yokel. True. Like a gammon. Like a guy who slags off and drinks a fucking VB long neck in the morning. And 1 in the afternoon. Spot on. He sounds a lot like a bogan, not a gammon. Sorry. A bogan. A fucking bogan. How much longer? I don't know. Go high pitch and you'll sound Maori. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, that's Gretchen Whitmer. She's a corporate stooge herself.
To your chair on the Help Committee, you have been championing change. Why aren't we seeing any traction in Congress if this is the #1 issue? Why can't you guys work on a bipartisan basis here?
Margaret, that is a great, great question. And I have to tell you, the answer has everything to do with money and politics. That the function of the current healthcare system is not to do what other countries are doing around the world, guaranteeing healthcare, quality healthcare to all of our people as a human right. The function of the current American healthcare system is to make billions of dollars in profits for the insurance companies and the drug companies, and they are spending huge amounts in campaign contributions to make sure that that happens. So when we talk about a political revolution, when we talk about a grassroots movement, one of the things we're talking about is we have got to join every other major country through a Medicare for all single-payer program.
Is there a single-payer program in this country that you think actually worked? I mean, Vermont struggled with it when your state tried it. Is there a model for what you're talking about?
No, Vermont, no, there is not. But 50 miles north of where I am talking to you right now, they are spending half as much per capita as we spend, and somehow or another, they manage to guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child in that country. You go to the hospital for a month, you come out, there is no bill. Is it a perfect system? No. But we are the only major country that does not guarantee health care to all people. That is what we have got to do.
You are the ranking member on the Help Committee. The CDC has been without a Senate-confirmed leader now for nearly 11 months. The FDA doesn't have a chief going on 2 months now. There's no Surgeon General. Under questioning, Dr. Erica Schwartz, President Trump's nominee, was repeatedly asked if she would resist political pressure. I know her answers did not win your vote, but do you think that she even has enough support to make it out of committee and ultimately to get confirmed?
Look, I liked her personally. I mean, she has a very strong background in public health, in the military. She's an attorney as well. Very impressive resume. But when you're dealing with the Health and Human Services Department agency, the issue is whether people will stand up to Bobby Kennedy, Secretary Kennedy, and his conspiracy theories regarding.
Did you hear Zoran praised Mao? Zoran didn't take too well to what you saying LKY. Lee was more radical than him. Check my logs. Wait, he did not praise Mao, dude. Zohran Mamdani would never fucking praise Mao. Are you kidding me? That's so funny. At most, he would do like he would do maybe a subtle nod, and then the entirety of the media would go crazy over it. Check PFP. No. Oh, sure, why not? Yeah, he'll quote Gramsci and people go crazy over it.
Vaccines, et cetera, et cetera. She did not impress me as somebody who, in fact, would do that.
You don't think she will ultimately make it through?
I don't know that she will or not. She may gain Republican support. I won't vote for her.
You do have bipartisan support from the Maha caucus for a bill to require warning labels for ultra-processed foods and to try to restrict marketing to kids. Doesn't the FDA kind of already do that with all the disclosures on packaging that tell you the ingredients? I mean,
nowhere near enough. You know, nowhere near enough. Look, we have a problem, a really serious crisis in this country in terms of obesity. I think 1 out of five children in America is obese, and that translates into diabetes, which is, as you know, just a terrible illness impacting our country and very expensive to deal with. We're spending about $400 billion a year dealing with diabetes. So what I want to see, and I think a lot of people want to see, is strong labeling. You know, so if a mom goes to a grocery store and the kid says, hey, I want that Coca-Cola, understand that a 20-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola has 15 teaspoons of sugar in it. Bad stuff. And it's not just Coke. Obviously, it's all these sweetened drinks and all kinds of processed foods. So what we are trying to do is, A, have strong labeling, and B, ban TV advertising of junk food to kids.
well, you do have some Republican support for it. We'll keep an eye on it. Senator Sanders, thank you for your time this morning.
All right, now we're getting to Michigan. We're putting our crosshairs, we're setting our sights on Michigan, a pivotal race that will most likely define 2028, the future of the Democratic Party, and perhaps the future of American democracy. That's right, the stakes are unbelievably high, which is precisely the reason